All right, welcome to the first ever podcast for Realty Resilience. My name is Dave Nations. I'm the host of this podcast and also the founder and CEO of Nations Network Real Estate Team. And I'm really excited to bring you guys this podcast. It's been something we've been working on for quite some time. And just to give you a little bit of background about our team, I got into real estate back in 2007, but we started Nations Network back in 2012, and Catherine and I started working together back then and started building the team ever since, and we've consistently grown our team over those years. And last year we closed a little over 72,229 units, and this year on track to exceed that. So we're bringing you this podcast really because as we've built this team, we've learned a lot of things along the way and really want to help other agents be able to build their real estate business like a business. We want them to be able to create more predictability, more sustainability in the real estate business. So many real estate agents that we talk to and do deals with and know over the years are always flying by the seat of their pants. They're working 7 days a week. You know, they're always exhausted, always have so much going on. And I think one thing our team has done really well is create a lot of systems and structure around how we built our team, how we run our team, the day-to-day, how we track everything, right? And I think those are great things that we're going to be able to share along the way and help others really build out a predictable business and sustainable business, like I said. So the structure of our podcast is really going to be 2 podcasts a month. And so 1 week we're going to have an interview with a top real estate agent that's in the industry. And then the other week we'll cover a topic that you guys can use to implement into your business. It may be a system, maybe a structure, maybe a tool of some sorts that our team has been using that's worked really well. But it is something that we find valuable, that we've been able to have success in, that we're going to be able to bring to you and share and teach you how to use that tool.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for sharing a little bit of background on the team. Just for the listeners who might want to get to know you a little better, Dave, would you mind sharing, did you start out as an agent? What drew you into real estate, and kind of how did that real estate journey begin for you?
Sure. So I bought my first house in 2004 as an investment property to fix up and rehab, and it was a side job. I was working in healthcare at the time in a family-owned business, and then fast forward a few years, got my real estate license in 2007 and started selling on the side with my best friend from high school, and I started our own company. And then fast forward a little bit further, and the market started to change a little bit. Some of you guys may have heard of the Great Recession, and really affected the real estate market, so we weren't doing any investing anymore, and jumped into real estate full time, and learned about Keller Williams along the way, and rolled into Keller Williams in 2011. Went to one of their big events and learned about building a team and business and all of that, and it really got me excited about building a real estate team. So 2012 is when I met Kat and made my first hire, and away we went and started figuring out how to build the team and follow the systems and models that KW teaches us, and been growing it ever since, and got back into investing with my brother in 2010 there as well, and been buying and flipping houses along the way, and currently own about 60 rental properties too. So doing a lot in the real estate space and been able to grow it quite a bit since then.
Great.
Nice. And Kat, you've been with Dave now for 12 years.
Yeah.
How did you get into real estate? Can you kind of give us a background as to how you became that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got licensed straight out of college and just decided that I had always had an interest in real estate, so I went ahead and got my license and sold as a single agent with a traditional brokerage. And then when my husband and I relocated out of state, obviously didn't know that area, so worked in the corporate side of real estate. And then when we were relocating back here to St. Louis, that's when I met Dave and thought that was a unique opportunity to stay in the real estate industry, but not necessarily on the sales side, because my passion has always been on the operations side, and so have had a very unique vantage point in being able to grow the team with him and develop the systems and tools and everything to support the growing business over the last 12 years.
Yeah, and it's actually a great story about the first time that we met in the interview process and how she decided to join the team. But we can save that for another day.
Blind luck.
That's right. Yeah. A lot of luck. So Jim, you joined us a few years later. Give us a little bit of background on yourself and
So
how you got into this.
Let's see. I'm an old fogey like you, Dave. I got in it before the Great Recession or right before it. So I got it in 2008. It was kind of out of necessity. Never went to I went to high school. Never went to college.
Questionable.
I did graduate high school. I promise. You can call. I'll give you the number. So we did not go to college. I started working construction straight out of high school for my dad, and this was for about 14 years. I did that, and it was really like bulging discs in my neck. My shoulders were messed up, and I was like 27 years old. I knew I wasn't going to go back to college. It was either be a cop or it was be a real estate agent. And I had a friend who was a cop, and his dad was a real estate agent. And the buddy goes, "Nah, you are way too nice to be a cop. So go talk to my dad." That's kind of how I ran into it. I went there. I came over to Keller Williams in 2015. And then stars aligned, and we had some conversations, and I joined the group in 2016. And here we are today. So this next guy, I sit next to him every day. I'm excited to hear his story on why or when and all this stuff. You guys can hear this. So Jeremy, tell us a little bit about it, you.
Yeah, so my background is a lot. Well, I'm much older than everybody else, so I have a little bit more experience.
You do look it. I'm just saying.
We're running out of time, so
Experience, yeah.
But going back, really was a football coach for many years, for about 15 years. At one point in time, after traveling around the country and coaching guys who were coming in and out of professional football and working with them, decided I didn't want to travel anymore. I'd had a child and got married and got married and had a child. And at that point in time, realized that I kind of needed to take a different direction in my life. I was fortunate enough for a gentleman that I knew that asked me to come to work for him. He was a major developer in Branson, Missouri. Had just started a huge project, which was going to be about a $1.6 billion build-out. And I was fortunate enough that he asked me to come on as his assistant and oversee the development of the entire project. At which point in time, what he said to me was, you can go to college and take business courses all day long, but you're never going to learn what I'm going to teach you over the next couple of years. He was absolutely correct. His name's Jim Shirato, and he's a wonderful man. Jim gave me the tools to really start to learn real estate development, but unfortunately in 2008, in the middle of the project, we all know what happened there. Unfortunately for us, that project did not finish. A lot of loans were passed around across the United States to different companies, and through that process, it just kind of faded out, and I suggested to Jim to kind of move on and use the money that he has as he looked at retirement and what he wanted to do next. I then had the opportunity to meet some other people as I grew in business, and eventually was asked to come to St. Louis, Missouri by some restaurateurs in the Central West End in St. Louis here. And, luckily for me, I had an opportunity to come in, take a company that had about 40 employees and some management and grow that into about 150 employees, about a corporate staff of 20, some executive chefs, and then I oversaw the company reporting to the owners. And that was a crazy time and ended up getting close to COVID, which wasn't the best time to be in the restaurant industry at that point in time, but luckily I was able to start consulting. And while I was doing that, just happened to look at some jobs and saw that there was a director of operations position open here. And we all chatted and got together. And that's been about 4.5 years now. It was kind of a mix of looking at what they had always done from a real estate standpoint and maybe mixing what I was bringing in from an operational company standpoint and seeing how we could pull that together to set goals and to really start to operate the company in maybe some other directions that were new. And fortunately, we've seen some growth, and it's been awesome. And at the same time, get to work with some of my best friends every day. So awesome.
It was a virtual match.
Yeah, absolutely.
During COVID.
I literally started right when they sent everybody home from COVID, and that's an interesting story because Dave was actually out of the country when I was getting ready to start, and he could have put the kibosh on the whole thing and said just wait it out, and he had the confidence enough to say let's move forward. I know it's COVID, but I don't want to stop this. And so we moved forward and did a lot of training on Zoom.
Yep.
And finally we're able to get together, and we've enjoyed working together ever since.
Here we are.
So here we are now.
Here we are.
Looking at this. So
Awesome. So to give a little background too about creating Heartwood Coaching, and about 4 years ago, Dave and I decided, we've always had a passion for helping agents, so we decided we wanted to add that to our businesses of how can we go out there and help agents do exactly what he said earlier, create a more predictable business for themselves so they're not on that roller coaster that a lot of agents experience. And so our vision for this podcast and for what we're doing with Heartwood Coaching is to really create that supportive community for the agent population. And within that community, we will have coaching cohorts, like small groups that work together on more specialized roles within real estate and within real estate teams, having webinars for people to learn new things that maybe they haven't been exposed to before, masterminds where we can share ideas and learn from each other, and even just developing those relationships for referrals that, maybe they're across the state or across the country and they have a client that another member could help out. So that's kind of what we're looking to do with this community.
Yeah, do you want to talk about the course as well on top of that? Or?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Oh.
That's why it was a question.
No.
That's what it was.
Well, fine. So we also, besides the community, right, we also put together an 8-week training course that'll be included with all of that. So one of the goals in our coaching was, again, to promote how we're doing, what we're doing. And in that 8-week course, it really outlines, right, like all of us are a part of that, which is why I wanted us all here today, because we were all the ones that also then help share exactly how we run our team, right? We talk about the meetings, the tools, the structure, the one-on-ones, the coaching, all the different things that we're doing with our team are shared in that training course, which then we're also then going to bring into those webinars and into the cohorts and the masterminds and everything. So it's all connected together, and really the goal of just how do we help everyone else be able to achieve the success that we were able to, and hopefully even more than that, right? And skip a lot of steps. I always tell people, like, when we're in meetings with other agents that we're talking to, it's like Mario Brothers, right? You can warp from level 1 to level 4 and you just skip those other levels. That's really our goal here, is how do you warp a few levels and skip a few steps, and you can get a little bit further, a little bit faster.
Well, a lot of it too is how so much of who you're hanging out with or who you're taking advice from. Like I think that probably one of the biggest reasons that I have what we have, my wife and I, we've got a portfolio of 32 rental properties also. And my brother and I, we also do some flipping, and most of that I probably would not be where I am as far as the investor standpoint, or being able to figure out how to juggle those things. If I didn't watch you go through, I'm going to let you go ahead and struggle through all this, and then I'll just turn around and say, all right, Dave, tell me what you did that I shouldn't do.
Lots of those, right?
It's way better.
Yeah.
It's so much faster.
That's the goal. That's what we're here for. Yeah. Let me screw it up first, and then you got it. Love it. All right, well, that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for tuning in to our first ever Realty Resilience podcast. Appreciate you guys tuning in and watching us. Feel free, if you want more information, you can find us at where, Kat?
Heartwood-coaching.com, or check us out on Facebook.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.